Welcome back to Cracking On with the Sun. We face a recoupling in tonight's episode that was cruelly teased, wasn't it, last night? Ended on a massive cliffhanger. I honestly cannot wait to see the drama unfold because I don't really know what's going to happen.
I think that usually we've got really used to Love Island cliffhangers and recouplings feeling quite obvious. But there's a couple of things here which I think are just so up in the air. And, you know, obviously the cliffhanger of cliffhangers this week was whether Diane drank from the poisoned chalice. Shout out to Traitors fans. But this is another cliffhanger which I'm just waiting for 9 o'clock to roll round. So,
well,
first
we
of all,
know about Joshua, don't we? Because he was able to have that decision, which does kind of change things up, I think.
Yeah.
That was a major twist in it.
Yeah, so as the new arrival, Josh Ritchie, he gets to choose first. Now, we're guessing that he is going to choose one of the girls that he went on a date with. So that was Hannah Elizabeth, Georgia Steele, or his ex, Georgia Harrison. My money's on Georgia Harrison.
I think so, yeah.
And that obviously means that Anton, poor Anton, unlucky in love as always, might be losing his girl. But we're going to have some insight on that later. We've had a chat with someone who knows Anton very well from over the years.
He's got some cracking stories.
Absolutely cracking stories. So stay tuned for that, for a little glimpse into poor Anton and his love life.
I'm gutted for him. But it was when he started to go onto the chair with the sunbed with Georgia and like put his arm round, everything just seemed so awkward. I was like, no, stop. When he was practicing with Hannah, that was just the cutest thing, wasn't it?
Was. Like, would I personally want Anton's arm around me? No. But just the way that he felt that he needed to ask for advice first. For me, it's the way that these boys feel the need to sort of almost, whether it's a pep talk or just to check in afterwards, it's how he felt the need to be like, it's nice though, isn't it? With my arm around you, this feels comfortable, doesn't it?
I mean, maybe
why can't he just put his arm around her?
Maybe this is sort of the generation of, consent, which is a very good thing.
Yeah.
But it is taking it to some sort of extreme with, may I please put my arm around you? It's all very robotic and staged, and it makes it feel so awkward.
Yeah.
And you automatically put them in the friend zone. You get the ick. There's no way that you're going to fancy
them.
I
know. Especially because all us girls really want, speaking for women here, is a bit of a throwdown. we probably all just kind of slightly want the man to ever so slightly take control of these situations and just feel a bit wanted. Yeah. And that kind of hesitance to things, I don't know, for me, which is not what I really want, but who knows.
So we've also got the whole Callum and Molly Chris drama brewing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I loved last night because of all of the Chris one-liners once again making us snort with laughter. What did you think of the whole thing about, so Chris and Molly kiss and then she ends up crying?
Yeah, it's not what you want, is it? It's not a great moment to like really put yourself out there, get someone up to the terrace, pull out quite an elaborate chat up. It wasn't just a chat up line, it was a chat up scenario, let's face it, and then have her crying.
Yeah.
But I think that means that kind of triangle, and certainly Callum and Molly, is the big question mark over tonight's recoupling. Will she choose to sort of repay the favour by recoupling with Callum, or will she choose to make this her line in the sand? But would she go for Chris? It doesn't feel like she will.
She's friend-zoned him completely. Yeah. And I feel for him because I think she was trying to make out that she was a lot more over Callum than she actually is. Crying after that, everyone's been there of that they're just not quite ready to move on, and she's found out, unfortunately, on live national TV, that she's not quite over her ex, who happens to be in the next around the corner.
Do you know what though, Amanda? I've got some spoiler gossip for you.
Oh my god, right, okay, come on.
Tonight's recoupling kicks off. So some of the choices that the girls make do not land well, and there is a massive row among the boys because of it.
Oh,
you look genuinely surprised.
That's good.
You weren't ready to hear that, were you?
I think when you said the boys having a fight,
yeah,
I think that's what, because last night we saw that very awkward moment, we'll talk about it later on, between the girls, and that you could really sense tension brewing there. So I actually thought you were going to say, yeah, the girls have a big cat fight. So it's the lads that are coming head to head. Okay.
Yeah, so real friction there, real tension. It erupts because of the recoupling. So those scenes are going to be coming up in tonight's show. And I mean, yeah, Friday fight night. Can't wait.
I love it when you bring us your juicy gossip, insider knowledge. So yeah, do you think that? What's your predictions for the big? Who's going to be the couples that we don't expect to couple up that will cause trouble? What's your kind of?
I think the one that's going to cause trouble is Mitch. So we saw him wobbling last night. Not wobbling, but certainly.
He's doing exactly what he did last series.
I know, history repeats itself, surprise, surprise. What I thought was very apt, and hopefully Liberty or Kaz clocked this, is he was just about to probably essentially break up with Liberty because he just said to Demi, I want to focus on you. And then he was just about to do that with Liberty, saw Demi and Lewis come back down from the terrace and went, hang on, I want to find out if they've kissed, and left Liberty. Essentially, he wants to find out if they've kissed so he doesn't bin her off if he still needs her as an option. And I was like, no, not to Liberty, not this time, mate. Sick of it.
Yeah, totally. And I think because Demi and Liberty have got their guard up, they're because they've just watched that. It's a very fresh season, isn't it? We've just watched Mitch in there, so they really know what he's about, and they keep saying, like, having him love bomb them, they just see through it. And I think they've been really good at sort of coming into the beach hut. I love when they come in there and they're like, he's saying this, but he's saying that to Liberty as well. And, and I think they need to have a good old chat and and to get everything out in the open. But it seems like Demi's already kind of moved on.
She's moved on, but like, I just hope that Liberty does not let the wool be pulled over her eyes here. He's gonna obviously come crawling back. What I think is going to happen in the recoupling is Demi will choose Lewis. Liberty will therefore probably choose Mitch, and Mitch will pretend that's what he wanted all along. And
that's so true.
I then can't wait for Demi to be like, no, hang on. Just before I decided to bin him off and go with Lewis, he said this to me. And as we saw this summer, girls obviously talk. He's not going to get away with it. And I can't believe that 6 months on, I feel like I'm having the same conversation about Mitch that I had in the summer.
It's such deja vu.
I know.
It really is.
Yeah. What about you? What's going to be your hot point of the recoupling?
I think that Anton's just going to get heartbroken because Josh will choose Georgia Harrison, and that will throw him back again. And I think it just is going to lead to a real crisis of confidence for him, because it will bring up a lot of memories from his time on the show.
Defo.
But Georgia is an interesting one. I've interviewed her before and I adore her. She is such a lovely, fun, bubbly person. And I love her mindset about life. You've seen a little glimpses of it.
Yeah, right. Go on. Give me Georgia's mindset in a nutshell.
So she believes in the law of attraction, the power of manifestation.
Right.
And when I interviewed her, she told me this story about how she was living in Marbella.
Marbs.
Because that's where they all go from the Towie lot, is Marbs. And she was living there. She's sort of been bunking in with this guy and a friend, and had a big row. She got chucked out, and she ended up homeless. No money in her account because she'd paid all this guy rent. So she was left living in her car. So she just said, right, I've hit such a low point here. I need to get my life in order. So she started to read a book, famous book, The Secret.
I was going to say The
Secret. She got sort of obsessed with this idea of being able to attract your own, the fortune and positivity.
Yeah.
So she did that. And then, honestly, it's such a brilliant story because she ends up, she thinks, getting herself onto Towie soon afterwards. And her life had completely changed within a year. And it was all the things that she put out into the universe that she really wanted. And she says that she every day writes down 10 things that she's grateful for every day. And she keeps a crystal close to her bed before going to sleep, holds it while thinking of the 3 best things that happened that day. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, but now I'm like, I wonder what 3 best things she's thinking of from each day. It's probably, bless her, it's probably things like, oh, I had a lovely iced coffee.
Yeah, but she's
Don't get me
positive.
wrong,
She's
love a nice coffee.
This is the thing, and then maybe it's the small things in life, and she's able to be thankful and put it out. But and I think you can really see that there was a really lovely moment last night that made me think of this story, because she was chatting to Molly, and she says, "Your energy is off. I can tell you're down," and she said, right, you need to build that energy back up. And it was just a lovely way to, I just love how she talks about stuff. And she's been through a really awful time with her ex-boyfriend, Stephen Bear, who's just got out of prison.
Yeah.
And she must have that on her mind while she's out there, while still filming this show. And she just shows like she's just so strong, powerful. She's a real girl's girl.
We need to all be more Georgia.
Honestly, I'm living life.
Next time,
but I don't know if I have time for all of this. The 10 things to write down and clutching the crystal and thinking of it.
Yeah,
it's quite a lot to invest in.
No, but like maybe, next time I get an email that makes me feel angry, I'm going to be like, no, be more Georgia, Flick. Be more Georgia.
Yeah. And we need to do her posture as well when she's doing all the... So I think that the manifestation, when she was doing the meditation with Jake.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was her... manifesting who she wanted to come in, and then the next day it was Josh, who's her ex, who they had a silly fight, and they've ended a very silly fight, and they've ended up, maybe it was just something that kind of, they were young, silly, they're now gonna make it work together, because they do look great together, don't they? They're very good looking.
But of course, this could be obviously at the expense of Anton's heart.
Yes.
So who better to ask about this than Scottish Sun reporter Jordan Tennant? Yes. So Jordan, up in Scotland, has had a lot of dealings with Anton, as well as some of the other Scottish islanders, so Jay Younger, Paige Turley. So he is perfectly placed to give us an insight into Anton, his love life, and share a couple of really fun stories of his encounters with Anton. So should we hear what Jordan's got to say?
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Amanda.
It's amazing. Really good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. Yeah, are you enjoying the new series?
I'm absolutely loving it. I'm hooked already. I feel as if it's just started off on such a high, and you think, it's going to be a boring episode tonight, and it just keeps delivering. We're obviously on a massive cliffhanger for tonight's episode, and Anton is one of the main characters. Now, you know Anton pretty well, don't you?
Yeah, I've met him before. Kind of followed his journey from his first stint in the villa. The Scottish Sun had the exclusive with him quitting the UK for a new life in Dubai, and we've done kind of everything in between. So it's going to be exciting to see how it all kind of unfolds in this series. But as you said, Amanda, it's been full of drama so far. Yep.
So what's Anton like when he's not on the telly?
Yeah, he's kind of really down-to-earth guy. He knows how to take the mick out of himself. I think he gets that from his mum as well. Out of that kind of media partnership, his mum, of course, who is famed for shaving her grown son's bum, she's kind of larger than life. I bumped into, the very first time I'd met him, I bumped into him at a pub last night. A kind of historic spat was exposed with Georgia and Josh. He had stole her table in Ibiza. I was at a club in Glasgow. We had a table, and Anton had actually stole our seats when we were away. He's kind of talking to the girls and whatnot. To rub salt in the wound, though, he didn't even buy us a drink, which was a bit of a sore one.
But yeah,
way. Really nice guy. He kind of took the time to pose for pictures, and yeah, really down to earth, Amanda. Nice fella.
So what was he doing stealing your table?
Yeah, I don't know. We'd booked this. It was a uni night out, and I think we'd popped outside for a while. We come back downstairs and saying, who's these 3 good-looking guys sitting at this table with the girls in the class? And it turns out it was Anton. That must have been a few months after he had originally appeared in the villa. But as I said, really nice guy, and posed for pictures and whatnot. So yeah, it was good fun.
So you let him off? You're still on good terms.
We did, yes, indeed.
He's been through quite a lot, actually, since his first series. With his mental health struggles, he's talked about sort of body dysmorphia. We obviously know about him with his fitness journey and just trying to achieve that kind of perfection that is unachievable. Can you talk us through how you sort of dealt with him on a personal level with that?
Yeah, well, he kind of didn't have a smooth ride during his first time in the villa. He got into a bit of kind of beef with Molly May after he felt that she had used him to kind of get a reaction from her now boyfriend, Tommy Fury. Following the villa, of course, the Sun exclusively revealed that Anton had unfollowed Molly May, which turned into a bit of a spat on the Afterlife programme. Apparently, there's no bad blood now, but he has had a bit of a tough ride with it as well. There was the incident with Belle, at the club, the kind of Love Island club where it all kicked off. But as you said, Amanda, yeah, he has had his own personal issues, and he's been quite kind of open and candid about it. He's appeared on numerous TV shows to kind of raise awareness of it, kind of body confidence. But I think he's a great role model for youngsters, especially in this climate as well, where you've got your Love Islands and all your reality stars, and I think a lot of people are looking up to him, and he's an inspiration for, the kind of next generation coming up.
He really is, and especially, being a man who perhaps you would just say that he would bottle it up and not talk about it, for him to go on to these big shows and because it was a documentary that he made, wasn't it?
Yes, a BBC documentary. At school, I think he wasn't a big lad, but he was a bit overweight compared to his peers. I think he get teased a bit for that. But he's kind of writing about his gym now. As you know yourself, he's a personal trainer. On Instagram, you always kind of see him popping up, kind of to give tips to other people and to give them the confidence, to perhaps take a leaf out of his book and just kind of own it and be proud of who you are and your own self.
Yeah, brilliant. So with Anton in the villa being at the centre of this drama tonight, how do you think it's going to play out? Do you think he's going to be unlucky in love once again?
Yeah, so I reckon he's obviously must have a thing for Georges, so he's went for Georgia Steele first of all, which I thought was really bold for him to go straight in there. He was getting a little bit of attention from Georgia H last night, which I thought was pretty good. Hopefully that kind of turns into something. Originally, Amanda, I thought he was going to hook up with Liberty. Liberty reminded me a bit of his ex, Belle Hassan, kind of busty, bubbly, blonde bombshell. So I was quite surprised that he didn't go down that route, but it's early days. Kind of watch this space. I think he kind of made it clear last night that the relationship with Hannah is kind of strictly friends when he asked her for a bit of, quote, sisterly advice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's really friend zoning, isn't it? It's now a sister with family zoning.
totally, yeah, it's been cemented now. But I think our new bombshell. I don't. He went on the 3 dates last night. I don't think he's going to pick Georgia S. She seems to be kind of wifed off, and I think he gets that impression. Hannah, they're kind of old pals. They're kind of more like brother sister as well. So, with the process of elimination, that leaves Georgia H, who Anton's been doing a bit of graft with.
So we've seen Josh come in as a bombshell, and he is an ex of Georgia Harrison. So do you think this is a bit of a red flag and potentially a threat for Anton?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't rain with Anton, it pours. So it's kind of one thing after another. I definitely, I would kind of put money on it that Josh is going to pick Georgia H tonight, which is kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back for Anton. He's kind of back at the starting point again. So it'll be interesting to see how the next few days pan out.
Yeah, completely. And I think the most important question I've got to ask you of the day is, what the hell is that going on with the breath spray?
Yeah,
Why does he keep doing it? Why is he's giving everyone the ick?
totally. Social media went absolutely crazy for it the first time he was in the villa. I think he was even doing it at the Craig David event. Famously got a thing for Craig. But he did reveal recently the real reason behind the breath spray, which is a little bit of backstage goss for you, Amanda.
Amazing.
He said that the producers have banned chewing gum on the show. It's not very attractive to be smacking your gums with a bit of chewing gum in there. So although the breath spray is very old-fashioned, it was his mum that recommended it to him, and he kind of took lots of that in there with him in case he got close to any girls. He was doing a bit of graft. He could have a quick freshen up with the mint spray. So yeah, it's a story behind it.
Oh my God. That Revolution Glasgow story.
Loved it.
I know. So Anton, I just adore it. It reminded me actually of a time that there was only some breakfast champagne involved for this one, but a time that I bumped into...
Best way to start the day.
Well, I bumped into Liberty in an event, and we were having a look around the set for... Do you remember that Channel 4 programme, Rise and Fall?
Yeah.
And she was there, you know, one of the influencers invited to look behind the scenes for her Instagram. And it was just so cute because she couldn't get over the fact that she was being given a champagne at breakfast time, and then the decor... She was like, where's that cushion from? Where's that bed from? Oh my God, I love this. Where's that from?
So
where's that from?
Love Island fame?
No, post.
Oh,
yes.
God, this sounds like she's a real newbie to the industry.
No.
But yeah, wow.
And so this would have been, God, like last spring.
Mm-hmm.
So like pretty established, obviously, still. And just what struck me was just how sweet she still was.
Yeah.
Like, still like, oh my God, that cushion is lush. Where's that from? Where's that? IKEA. Oh my God, that's amazing. Taking pictures of things so that she could buy them herself for her flat. And I just was adorable.
Sweet.
Love that. Be more Georgia.
More Georgia. Yeah, be very positive about everything.
Exactly. So therefore, let's be positive about Demi and Lewis's snog last night.
That was very hot, wasn't it? It was the way that he just grabbed her and threw her about.
Well, it's that throwdown that I spoke
yes,
about earlier.
Yeah, you've got it on the brain.
I know. Good job. That was after the watershed.
Yeah.
For me, it was how she had her leg over him, fine, and he was sort of. She had that mesh catsuit on. Looked incredible.
Her bum.
And he
stopped staring at it.
Well, he obviously couldn't stop staring at it either because it sort of started with him sort of pummeling her bottom, like he was sort of Paul Hollywood working some dough in the Bake Off tent. Do you know what I mean, though? Yeah. And I thought, oh, and then they were just sort of flipping each other over, weren't they?
What was that mark that was on his shirt? Did you see it?
No.
It was just like, I don't know, it looked like a wet patch that was on the back of his shirt. And I kept thinking, oh, what is that? And it was distracting me from the kiss. But aside from that, he threw her about. Then she kind of threw him about.
Yeah.
Again, kind of linking into what we said earlier in the week in this podcast about the girl power thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just really went for it, didn't they? But it was hot and steamy, and I'm so happy for Demi going for it. You know, she's just like, she's had Chris already under the covers.
Yeah.
She's having a great week.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I've just got to get my phone.
That moment, I've watched it about 1 million times already. It is so funny. She's just, you know, you're excited after a really good kiss like that. She no makeup on her face. It's all smudged off. She comes running in, clasping her phone, sees that Kaz is sitting there, who's obviously, you know, really into Lewis.
The other woman. Holding
her phone, she says, oh, sorry, I was just looking for my phone. And then she looks down and she sees that she's holding her phone. I just loved it so much.
It's classic Demi.
And then we had that horrible moment later on when Demi, for some reason, I don't know whether she was going over there to talk to Kaz and Liberty about what had happened, and then she chickened out. She walks over to Kaz and Liberty. It's like, oh, hi, girls. You know, can I sit down? Sit. If looks could kill, I think Demi would be dead.
I feel like Demi's the main character right now. What do you think?
Obsessed with her.
Deaf. Do you know what I was thinking, actually, looking at when they panned through all the boys before the recoupling?
Yeah.
This year's cast, now I know they're always incredibly attractive, but they really are all stars. There is a lot of totty in there now, boys and girls, obviously. Yeah. So they're all spoilt for choice, really.
And I feel like it's only going to get better because we all know the bombshells are.
Yeah.
That they're a bombshell for a reason. They come in to really turn heads.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, you know, yesterday I told you that some really big things were coming up.
Yeah.
I'm still not going to be able to tell you what big things are coming up, but just speaking about the totty level of the people coming in.
Yeah.
One of them in particular, breathtaking. So when I say breathtaking, who are you thinking of?
I really loved Tyler Cruikshank, Kaz's ex.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether he's going to be going in. I've heard it's a no, but there's still time for him to change his mind.
Yeah.
How long is that flight out there to South Africa? Because I feel like he could just get on it and we could be ready for tomorrow night's show. Also, Ovi. Everyone's obsessed with him, aren't they? He was just one of those people that just the whole kind of country just got behind.
Do you know what I think is, as we said yesterday, like they're actively still talking to loads of islanders. Let's not forget that quite a lot of these people might have said no 6 months ago, 3 months ago, a month ago. And A, their life circumstances might have changed. And B, it might have come on air and they might now have changed their mind. Or something might have been said that has annoyed them.
Yeah.
And they now want to go and have their say.
I've got a good story about that, actually.
Go on.
So I know one islander who was asked months ago, turn it down. Said no straight away.
Yeah.
Then all of the anticipation of it has been building up for a long time.
Yeah.
Everyone was getting excited about it. And recently, this person has been begging bosses to get on the show. And she was told it's a no. Missed our chance.
Oh my God, you'd be gutted, wouldn't you?
Oh, devastated.
Yeah. There was another one that you told me about the other day, who's pregnant.
I know.
And she's gutted as well, isn't
totally
she?
Gutted. I know that because, you'd be thinking, oh, can I just go back a bit?
Yeah.
This is a great year.
Or let's get some pregs on, God, on that note.
Imagine going in when you're pregnant and we'd have to just say, right, I know that there's going to be a baby at some point, but
the health and safety, the duty of care, Amanda. Well, you just think of the duty of care. Although, look, Davina's, my mum, your dad did brilliantly,
Yeah.
New spin-offs. I love a spin-off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of which. So huge episode tonight. Can't wait for us to catch up about it and all of the events from the weekend on Monday.
Well, because this is quite a big episode, isn't it, for the first week? Because we're going to see how the new Fridays play out on the show. We've got a change of format. We'll be seeing Maya again. Will somebody be going out, or are we waiting until next week for that? There's just so many questions. I cannot wait for 9 p.m.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. And I cannot wait for next Monday when we'll talk about it again.
Yes, we'll see you then. Have a lovely weekend.